Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about mods, and specifically, we'll talk about client mods. We're kind of living in a golden age of computer games um, where the community can create content to supplement or change or modify your game experience, make it more interesting or customized for you. And I love the Don't Starve Together mod community. They produce a lot of great stuff. Server mods are mods that affect everybody who's playing together. Client mods are ones that only affect you. And we can do server mods maybe in the next video, but we'll do client mods today. So I've got a lot of client mods that I play with, and what I'm going to say is which ones I think are absolutely 100% essential. I would almost never want to play without them, and then which ones are kind of nice to have, but not really crucial. Okay, and I'll just do them in alphabetical order from the ones that you see I've got starred, so they're at the top, and checked off, so I'm actually using them. So Action Queue RB2. There's like 9 different Action Queue mods, but they all started with an original, but this is the latest one, Action Queue RB2. And basically, authors, as they drop out, a new author will take the mod, update it. Action Queue is a hard mod to kind of figure out how to use, but it's a massive time saver. And basically, you can set it up so, there's a lot of different stuff here, but the main thing is the Action Queue key, which I have as the left shift button. When you hold down the left shift button and click or double click on something, it will repeat the action. So if it's, let's say, picking up all of the twigs or all of the rocks that are in the area, you could go around and click on them one at a time, or hold down your action key, probably your space bar, one at a time, or you can click the left shift and then click or double click on one rock, and it'll pick up all the rocks surrounding you. Your character, your player will just go around to each one at a time and grab them. So a big time saver, less clicking, less button pressing for you, but it doesn't speed up the game. So it saves your actions, but it doesn't change the nature of the game. It just automates things a little bit. Same thing in reverse. You can automate planting things down. And if you watch any streamer doing DST, they all have Action Queue enabled almost, unless they're trying to play a perfectly vanilla experience, because it just saves a lot of time and your focus. So I would not say it is absolutely essential. If like the A tier is absolutely essential, I'd put Action Queue in a B tier, because I really, really, really like it. But you can play without it. You just have to do more clicking. Camera tweaks, on the other hand, I would put in the A tier. There are a lot of zoom type mods and camera type mods. This is the one I use, but there are others that are good. And what they all basically do is let you manipulate your view of the screen. Okay? And if you are a streamer or a YouTuber, which I am not, I'm just making some videos, this is really important because you can get cool shots. But the big thing for me as a player is the maximum view distance. Basically, how far can you zoom out? And the default zoom out for Don't Starve Together without any mods is very small. You really can't see very much around you, and I just don't like it. I like to be able to see a little bit more. Almost everybody you watch likes to be able to see a little bit more. I don't think a crazy amount more. I've debated with my son about what this number should be. I like it at 120, and I rarely am zoomed out all the way. My default view distance of 40 is actually pretty good. and I zoom out a little bit when I'm, traveling or something like that. So something like camera tweaks, or there's camera zoom stuff, that's an A tier for me, because I would not want to play much without being able to zoom out a little bit. It's just very limiting. Okay, combined status. This changes your HUD, your heads-up display of your health and your sanity and your hunger, and a couple of other things. It adds the seasons in, so you can see easily how many days are left in the season. You can see your stats in numbers, not just a bar. I would say this is A tier. Almost everybody I see who's played DST for a while prefers this view. Is it fair? It doesn't actually give you more information. It just makes it easier to see that information. You have to track it manually a little bit less. Anyway, I've been using combined status almost since I started playing, and unless I was really trying to challenge myself, I use it 100% of the time. Craft Pot. I would say B plus A minus. So normally you do a lot of crock pot cooking in this game, and unless you memorize recipes, which you can do for the things you make commonly, but there's, 70 different crock pot dishes in this game. It's hard to remember all of them and all of their requirements. Craft Pot basically tells you, with the ingredients that you've put in the pot, what are you going to get? And it helps you not get, bad dishes like monster meat or monster tartare, monster lasagna, if you don't want them. So I'd say this, I always play with it. I really like it. But if I had to play without it, I would be okay. I'd just make a few more mistakes. But I think it really helps as you're getting to know the game, so I would recommend it. Went too far. Okay, Crockpot Repeater. This one is a C tier. It's not necessary. In fact, I've just added it. It's like Action Q Reborn in that it adds some efficiency, but I would not worry about it at all for a beginning player. Geometric Drop, C tier. This and Geometric Placement, both of them are about putting things on the ground, like structures and drops, a little bit more precisely. So they're totally like base builder, aesthetic functions. C tier, you don't need them to have a good game playing experience. Gesture Wheel, C tier, same thing. This makes it easier for you to make your character show emotions, like shake their fist or yawn or something like that. It's all about cosmetics. C tier. Idea testing, A tier. So this one allows you to set certain filters on the game and disable sound. So, for example, I have it set to not show bird trap rustling, because that's really, really annoying. Or glommer buzzing, the insanity ambiance. When you go insane in this game, it is really, really, the screen gets really hard to see. The noises get really loud. So I've just turned on this filter to, basically to calm it down a little bit. Poop flies. When you have poop on the ground from your beefalo, flies buzz around it. That sound gets really annoying. So I've turned off the ones that I don't like, or turned on the filters that I don't like, just to make the game a little bit more pleasant. You can see I'm not doing any of the graphics, but I am doing the sounds. Other people will calm down some of the graphics. So I think that's a really important one, because Insanity is so hard as it is. The graphics and the sounds really can become overwhelming. Map controls removal. This just takes away the little map icon. I use the M key to get into the map, but when you're a new player, having the button there is nice. I would say this is C tier. You don't need this mod at all. Minimap HUD, I would say A tier. Never play without it. It puts a little mini map somewhere on your screen, usually in the top right corner, but you can move it around. You can open it or close it. You can set how big it is, but it lets you see a kind of like 30,000 foot view of where you are and what's around you. And it really helps when you're trying to navigate through the world. It makes the game a lot easier. So in that sense, if I was trying to challenge myself, I would not use it, but you know, I'm here to have fun, so I use it. Okay, Nightmare Phase Indicator. I would say B tier. This one only applies if you're going into the ruins, which you're not going to do the first few times you play. But it is helpful once you're in the ruins to know what phase you're in without having to read the turf, which you can learn to do. So I'd say, you know, B. It makes it a little easier, but it's not absolutely 100% essential. But the truth is I have it on all the time. Show cooldown time. That's Wanda character specific, so D tier unless you're playing Wanda. Skins extender. This basically automatically unwraps the skins that you get in the game so that you don't have to be near a science station or science type station to unravel them. It makes it easier to get your skins, and you can unweave those for spools. But it's not necessary for the game, so I would say C tier, definitely nice to have. Snapping tills is like kind of like Action Q Reborn for tilling farms. Really useful if you have a lot of farming to do, but if you're not up to farming or you don't do it a lot in the way you play the game, not that big a deal. So I'd say B tier. Wormhole Icons. This one's gone through a lot of things. The Fixed Again version by Zoom Zoom Bang is the most up to date that I'm aware of. This basically makes it so that when you jump through a wormhole, it gets marked with a number or a color or something like that to make it easier for you when you're looking at your map to see which wormhole goes where. You can do this manually with skins or by putting down chests or traps or something in certain configurations. So is it a cheat? I don't think so. It definitely makes it easier. And again, if I was really trying to challenge myself, I'd turn it off. But I play with it on all the time. I'd say A-, B+. And those are the ones that I play with most. I do want to do an honorable mention for item info. There's a couple different versions of these. I think Natalia's is more up to date than Ryu's. But item info basically gives you stat information about all sorts of things in the world. Your armor, your weapons, your food. And you can see in the icon here, it tells you the stats of food. I do not use this because I use a server mod called Insight that does the same thing, and we'll talk about server mods next. But if you don't play with the server mod or somebody who's using the server mod Insight, or you're playing by yourself and you don't care about server mods, Item Info is a really good mod. I used to play with it all the time. And as a beginner, I would say either having an Item Info client mod or a Insight server mod is absolutely essential because there's just so much to learn about the game, and it is easier to learn when you see some information on the screen. And I've got some other mods here that I don't use too much. Too Many Items Plus, this is a creative mode mod that lets you basically spawn in anything. So we don't use this when we're actually playing the game. We only use it for testing. And then this is a Wormwood specific mod, another Wanda specific mod, a Wartox specific mod. So if you're playing those characters, Wartox Quick Heal or Wormwood Bloom Predictor, very important, but only if you're playing those characters. And those are my client mods. As you can see, most of them basically do the same thing. They give you some information faster, or they automate actions, or they just make the game a little bit easier. And I'm not trying to be the absolute best Don't Starve player out there. Maybe someday when I feel like I've conquered the game with all these mods, I will try playing without some of them to challenge myself. But right now, I think they're really great. Okay, that's the video. I'll be back next time with server mods. Thanks, everybody.